Hello, welcome back to the Scratch Mapping Podcast. I am your host, Scratch Mapping, also known as SM. And today we're just going to be doing some general discussion regarding the community as well as the studio, and we might have a bit of fun as well. This is episode 201, depending on how you see it. We're going to have a couple guests, maybe including Thunder, Germanczy, and Frosty Commissar. And welcome to the show. So let's move all three of them in and let's have a good time. So, how are we?
Yeah.
I'm doing fine and dandy.
Alright, that's some good old, fucking Yankee. I can't say that.
I know.
Anyway, so I'm just gonna start off by scrolling the new Scratch Scrapbooking Community Studio. Some drama happened there before that I am aware of. If I'm correct. Oh, that's a bit awkward. Well, I believe.
Yeah, I was trying to make sense of what we were saying.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
It happens to all of us.
Anyway, there was a studio made by that Scannet kid, the so-called replacement studio, where Reborn, or is it this one? Yeah,
Yeah.
the one made by him where he's just gone. No starting wars, no clout chasing. This coming from Scannet is pretty hypocritical because you've got to consider the fact that he's one of the whole add me, kids when it comes to the Scratch Mapping community.
Yeah.
Kind of does make sense considering, last time I saw him, he was being power hungry.
Yeah.
Or so I've heard.
Yeah, in my Map Awards series, I had him get invaded by, I think it was Ont. And he went into a full-on rant during the comment section going on, you can't get rid of someone in the second episode. I'm like, mate, that's just plot development. So, if he's
That's just
gonna get offended by that, I don't really know what he's not gonna get offended by.
That's kind of expected of someone who, loses in a Mapper Wars episode, yeah.
Yeah, the whole idea of, everyone having to be so nationalistic and all that. And,
Yeah, I even with the disclaimer, I can feel like that would still happen anyway.
Yeah, you've got to just consider the fact the Map War series is super touche. Because you're going to have every single episode people complaining and people getting invaded and people asking to be added in. Because if you're making a war series with a community, obviously, you can't make everyone happy. If you're obsessed with being the strongest country in the mapping series, then I really don't think you understand the entire plot and just how a series is supposed to work.
Yeah, if you can't understand that, you're not, the series isn't going to revolve around you, then, you clearly just shouldn't be in the series.
Yeah, exactly. Well, to be fair, you kind of can't escape. If you just go into any Map Wars project or any series involving mappers, everything is just add me, add me, add me, add me. I don't blame them because, people do want to be part of the greater community, in a sense. It's just Jesus Christ, this project was made 6 months ago, the SMC Survivor. I haven't done anything since then, really. The entire comment is just, can I season 2? Please me for season 2. Please me in season 2. Please me in season 2. Please me in season 2. It's just begging at this point. But,
Yeah.
They don't even take time to watch the series. They just want it for clout.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to cling to relevancy.
That goes back regarding to clout chasers and the fact I don't like the whole concept of the whole everyone describing the community as so and so clout chaser, people looking for attention. I get there's the people there, but I don't really think it's necessarily as bad as other social platforms. If you're looking at fucking Instagram or some shit or fucking, that kind of much bigger, you've got people begging follow, but at the end of the day, your follower count's just a number, and just matters about the quality. If you're having fun, it's not like a competitive. Scratch is not a competitive game. It's a coding platform.
Yeah.
It's like if you're gonna get upset because you don't have as many followers as someone.
Yeah, it never really was meant to be for fame.
Yeah,
It
but the
was
thing
meant.
is, I feel like not trying to throw shade at Sky, not having to go. I feel like the whole idea of Mapper Tracker kind of like emphasized that kind of follower debate. Like it's a solid project by him. Like it's not bad in any way, shape, or form, but that it's also drawn out some of the people begging to be added. And since he's been banned, hopefully with an unban, Mapper Tracker, if that does come out, obviously it's gonna maybe stir some form of controversy.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point. Like with Mapper Tracker, it kind of makes people like competitive because you're essentially comparing.
Yeah. I'm honestly not trying to like diss him, but like the fact that that something exists. I'm not saying for him to stop it at all. This is an excellent project he's got going on here with these graphs I've been seeing. Like he's got these bloody Excel spreadsheets, which is like some form of massive dedication.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a shame that we've had this fucking ban wave. And
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's prevented the community from like interacting, and like Sky Miner, he's been working on like a lot of stuff, and now he can't really work on it.
he's definitely been in the community as someone
Yeah.
who has made these big steps for he's probably a massive spreadsheet lover. I don't doubt that, but the fact like it's not bad at all. I like spreadsheets. I love me and the boys with our Excel spreadsheets, but it's a big project by him getting followers, and the fact that with a ban, I haven't been banned in the past. If any of you have, are you able to browse the website at all if you're banned? Or
Yeah, I've
what
been banned a
happens?
couple times.
Yeah, do you
I
get?
actually haven't been banned once. Just got like warnings and stuff over the
I've gotten a
past.
warning. I got a network ban once, but that was averted for some reason. I don't know why I got it in the first place, but I. Are you able to browse like the website while banned, or are you like forever locked to that you have been banned screen?
You have to sign
I
out to like,
do.
browse.
I do remember one. Sorry.
Yeah, you're like locked like in the like ban tab, and you have to sign out to watch and browse.
Yeah, that makes sense because I think NJ got our IP banned, so
Yeah.
that he had to use data or whatever.
For some reason, like one day, like a couple of years ago at the very least, I got locked out of my account for like one whole day, and I had no idea why, but I could like browse around the website even though I wasn't logged in.
Yeah, that probably makes a bit of sense. You'd probably just be lodged for just you'd be barred from just sharing projects in general, which makes sense with the community. And just an interesting concept. So if we're gonna just scroll, oh Jesus Christ, that was a bit loud. So if we like scroll through the current most followed mappers from July 1st, you have a lot of the older people at the top. Well, a couple of new ones. You got Nemo and FNAF and Igor and Eldir and me with that in that 300 range. There's that drop off. At about me, I'd say, where it goes from the 300 range to the low 200s. And then there's the one like 150s, and that gradually gets low. But like past, like below, like 100, that's when like that's where like all these clout chasers are, the people who are begging for all this, because they see these people with like 300 followers, and they're like, oh, I've got to be as big as them. But
Hmm.
and then we go to the observers list, where he's got, how many maps he has? He's got like at least 70 people here while I'm scrolling down here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scrolling down. More than 100. Yeah, 109 mappers listed on the Mapper Tracker project, if you count observers, which is impressive, but like, I feel like the fact is one of the reasons that the community has these fights is because we've gone from a community sense to a more, self-centered orientation for most mappers. Like, it's less about the community getting shut down and more about I not getting banned, or, Sky thinking, no, I don't want to get banned. They'll do like anything to, just like assert themselves here and try to, the people who have been here for some time
Mm-hmm.
still trying to branch out. And
Yeah.
regarding that, this also reminds me of that one time back in, I think it was June last year, when they quote unquote decided to to end the SMC.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of reminding me of that here, because it's a couple people thinking they're making a decision for the whole community. Well, I can't really say that there's all these. Thing is, with our community, it's heavily, there's a lot of role play stuff going on. Like there's songs so treaties and all that, where Scanner was talking about, I'm not a half, the term was abolished. And I've
Yeah.
never heard of anything being discussed regarding that. But probably some smaller mapper probably decided to, do something, bridge that half divide. But I feel like the term half, or just the scratch mapping community, is like, to bridge the term half as a whole, it's like someone who's not entirely focused on mapping projects. And like, once you're in that half zone, I understand where people are coming from, because when you're in that half zone, it's very difficult to break out as, being considered a half. And some people just either want the clout or just want to be respected by the community. And that desperation, well, not really desperation per se, but more of a wanting to belong kind of sense. Since the community, of course, is on Scratch, it's obviously mostly consisting of younger children, well, probably early or pre-teens. But the fact, got my eyes on working. The fact that we're going to have to consider these standards as like for maturity, I think definitely highlights the point regarding the, lower demographic of the community, and the fact that a lot of them don't understand some concepts like basic respect.
Yeah.
And we've got Luigi coming in here in a second maybe. But to quote off the scratch mapping community studio guidelines, if I can get them up. It says, I believe it lists something regarding so no wars, which I think the point of wars is just lame in general, because
Yeah.
it's not even like a real war. In a real war, you can actually do damage and like actually, have something to fun. With this, it's basically just a flame war of people just, having a go at each other.
Yeah.
Using
Yeah,
it as an excuse to just rant.
Yeah,
I feel like
and
the
in
term
the
war,
end, nobody wins.
Yeah, like I feel like the term war comes from how we're a mapping community. Like if it was just like a community that's like not a mapping community, then we wouldn't have the term war.
Yeah. The fact that before I've been here for some time, I'm not gonna, go pull the fact that I've been like to go pull the line of I've been here longer. I know more. I obviously don't, but back in like 2 years ago, maybe 2018, the community was a lot looser than before. Because like before, it was just a bunch of people mapping on Scratch. There was like no single, studio or community binding them all together. It was just like people mapping and all that. And the fact that, we've had Discord for some time now, and there's that, with Discord, there's no language filter. On Scratch, language filters are kind of touche subject, but the fact that they kind of just, try to keep discussions civil, rather here, where someone will go, oh, there's so-and-so, and they'll just have a massive flame war, which happens in, like, general every second day, I guess. And moving Luigi and Thunder into the chat. Going off the whole studio debate, we're gonna with this thing here. I think this is Ruben saying, "I hate the SMC discard." Yeah, true. It mostly has dirty jokes, and it's pretty racist. I think this, as much as Ruben, he's a bit disconnected with the community as a whole. But the fact is, the community is pretty toxic. There's nothing we can really do to stop it. Considering, like, there's been these whole, these whole ideas of a government and so on. So, but a government's just the dumbest idea when it comes to a community, because going off the fact of a community, the fact that like no other communities in the government, you've got communities that are toxic in their own right. So it's a lot of fighting game communities. If you're going to talk about like the Brawlhalla and the CS:GO community, that's obviously extremely toxic communities in general.
Yeah.
But the Scratch mapping community is just toxic because a lot of people just come out here for individual gain every day. And it shows in the fact that you've got these poorly made mapping projects. Whereas there's not enough effort just to hop on the bandwagon of like someone who's, obviously going pretty well at the time.
It's like, forgetting how toxic the community is, we don't need a unifier yet.
Yeah, we just brought that up.
Oh, God.
Yeah, apparently everyone thinks unifiers are just bad.
We don't need that wheel anymore.
Just to generalize it.
Yeah, I feel like the fact, back then, if it was on Scratch, I feel like the whole idea of a unifier would probably be a lot more significant. Because you're going to have to, the Scratch community, having someone to run, the unifier role was basically who would own the SMC studio at that point. That's basically what the unifier thing would be.
Yeah.
Who would make the studio the next big studio? That was what it was really about. And obviously, Engineer had that. UK Bull Productions had that with WSMA. I took over that once it got banned. And you just have that. Go ahead.
Wait, who?
Pardon? Do you know UK Bull Productions took over WSMA? He created it.
Yeah, but he's
and there was
banned.
that president. Yeah, he was banned. But previous to his ban, there was a presidential election, which I believe I won. And I took over the studio for that time after he got banned, acting as the leader.
How did he get banned though? Is it because of that project?
I don't know necessarily. I don't really think the explicit reason was ever disclosed. But just going off, we can either assume that it was probably due to linking the wiki or linking Discord or probably trying to get to that shared mappers account
Yeah, I
sharing
think
that password information. It was
I
either that
certainly
or probably
remember
linking to the
it
wiki.
being. I certainly remember it being the shared account, and I think that one may have gotten banned too. I don't know. Don't take me for granted.
I was like literally inspired by UK Ball Productions to map.
I
Like
love the whole
something.
idea of, when you come to the project, you see someone mapping and like, that's cool, I want to try that. I just kind of came on here the fact that when I first came onto the website, I thought I would be the only person, doing mapping on here. Turns out when I was coming, there was a massive group of people who have already done this. So that kind of exceeded my expectations. So I just came here trying to, do my own thing, making those awful Jabril kind of projects. But it's pretty solid seeing that, the community has been here since I believe like 2016 or 17. I think late 2015 was when the first one by Ethan was made. But the Scratch team's always been an enemy of the community because, we've always tried to branch off to the wiki and all that. And obviously Scratch has that policy of no linking to websites with unmoderated chat sites. So obviously bans occurred because of that.
Let me add the first show note.
Define shine.
Oh yeah, I got a message from Alpha. He said never mind anyway.
Alpha's
Okay.
yeah, he does some weird stuff. Just going based off of here.
Doesn't want to join.
I'm just gonna.
I'm gonna mute while I watch this.
You mute your mic? Oh right, go for it. So if I scroll through the old World Scratch Mapping Alliance. Yeah, so UK Ball Productions was the only manager at said time. That's strange. I was kicked from the studio.
Why?
Also, the one thing I was thinking is WSMA. I believe this was the studio where the the SMC flag was introduced. Because if you look at that, the black, classic blue, white, and orange that the community is identified with.
So guys, apparently my username's a boat. There's something called Thundercraft Boat.
Okay.
For some reason. Yeah.
All
Do I have
right.
horrible singing?
That project, it was decent. I checked it out, but I feel like.
Yeah. Let me add that second note. I don't know why. Some people who haven't seen it.
Just honestly, singing's probably the least of our concerns right now. But
Okay.
I feel like, every single time the community has tried to get back up on their legs, something has happened. WSMA, that was the beginning of some kind of, right in the community, but then, UK got banned. Here we had the SMC, were kind of on the way up, but then we just had this massive ban wave.
Yeah.
Oasis banned for 3 days. And then Jenny, he got on IP banned, I believe, yesterday.
Everyone, how much is this Clout Chaser war gonna go for?
I don't really think it's less of a war and more of a general community mindset. It's less of Clout Chaser war and more of people always trying to get clout.
But this is all the people who are involved in the Clout Chaser war.
Don't worry now. I think the best. What would I say? The only probably good thing to come out of the Clout Chaser war is the fact that people are trying to one up each other in terms of mapping, which is generally friendly competition is good when it comes to mapping. You know, one person making a mapping project and another one trying to make it better and better and better and really achieve, you know, a higher quality of mapping on the platform. But then when, you know, it's less about mapping and more about followers, that's when the problem really begins to set in with the band waves of, you know, people hurling some hate and complaining at each other because just something in that mapping project probably offended them. And that's just how it rolls.
What I really strongly dislike about it is that it went from quality to more quantity from what I've noticed since like the Cloud Chaser War or like before it and after it, during it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly, definitely what I'm trying to point out here with the fact that it's gone from, I was hoping it will go down the route of, you know, having a lot of quality to one up. But once people realize they could just spam projects, spam just really low effort projects, it's just become nothing. Because some of the, you know, older, I hate the term elder, but the older, I wouldn't say older, but let's say more respected mappers, they have, you know, a fewer amount of high quality projects.
Guys,
And then you've got people like, the soccer dude who's probably banned, but they have like about like 800 fairly low effort projects. And, you know, obviously, a lot on this website, quantity usually generally overpowers quality, which is, you know, the YouTube algorithm or anything keeping us going. But the fact is, you know, it does build up hype. For, you know, when an older mapper releases something new after like a month of inactivity. But generally, just trying to stick to like a good mapping basis is probably preferred. Because just rolling off the fact that we've got to consider the band waves here. Because on websites like YouTube, where, you know, you've got clickbait and all that, there's no real video
the
filter.
clickbait.
The clickbait is back in like 2014, I'd say, where, you know, you'd put anatomy on the thing, on the thumbnail, and you get clicks, you baiting. But there's no like algorithm on Scratch, which is kind of a good thing. Done people exploiting it, but it treats every project equally. Because, you know, YouTube pushes longer videos to, you know, puts longer videos which generally have more effort to subscribers. But here, you know, Scratch is just like programming websites, so there's no real, you know, it might not even be an animation. It'll be a game. You can never determine the length of something, so there's always nothing to assess the quality of this project.
Yeah, plus there's like no recommended section like off the side of another project. Like if you want to find a specific project, you'll have to search it through the search bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no recommended, you know, it's back in like 2010 where there's a featured projects page. Which obviously this method is probably a bit better to, you know, have a lot more safe and child-friendly projects towards said younger audience. You know, you've got, you know, realistic wood grain tutorial, mask icon creator, gravity, complete song, original song, some Polish racing car game. You know, stuff with effort, which is good. But with the sheer amount, not every project can be manually audited. And so obviously, you know, you've got Scratch Design Studio here, Imaginary Sports, which is probably just fun, but to get the so-called recommended stuff is down at the bottom. Projects by Scratchers unfollowing, projects loved. Down here, the people, projects and studios are following. This hasn't changed for like a year. These 5 projects down here, you know, they haven't changed like a year. Maybe if it got updated. Look, I've still got UK Ball Productions, the entire series in there. Alternate Future of Nicaragua, UK Balls Country Balls. It's extremely outdated. But
Mhm.
for the fact
I
that
mean, should I even make a SMC Jeopardy?
we may host an episode regarding playing some games in the future, maybe for like a 5th or 10th episode
Yeah.
special. But I think just
I'm
using
using
this as an output, just have. I think this is less about making a podcast and more about just having a generally good discussion,
Yeah.
and being able to
Yeah,
consider
I
some
think
facts
that's
here.
where it's evolved to that point.
That's where it's got up at this point, which is great. That's why I kind of wanted to start this entire thing. I just wanted to, have an actual civilized discussion for once, rather than people just screaming obscene slurs at others because they said something they disagree with. So,
Yeah.
just
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that it's kind of like the mainstream thing.
yeah. But like the Scratch website is like fairly limited as compared to like actual, well, I hate bringing up the comparison with YouTube, but I feel like Scratch is more of a Reddit of sorts. But like, it's, you've got that basic, it's a really basic setup if you think about it. You have like, user page with, your profile comments and followers and following. If
Guys, how much unifiers have there been so far?
I believe officially there have been 2.
Because I'm making a category called unifiers in this SMC Jeopardy.
You can bring up, there have been like de facto leaders of the community. Like right now, obviously, since Date owns the community Discord server, he's obviously having that. There's obviously been those people in those leadership roles throughout the community. Like Oasis
It
is like,
depends on how far back you want to go.
oh yeah, Luigi, very nice appearance. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. How far back do you want to go? The fact is, you definitely have, as I was saying it before, if you look right now, those people who have, built themselves up in this community, such as, Oasis is basically the new kid to the block here. And,
Guys, I'm just gonna do some random categories.
yeah, go for that. We'll roll that next episode. Going forward, some of the people, the problem is the fact that one problem that I think with Scratch, it's something minor, but something that just gets my gear. The whole, shows how long they've joined. It's something really subtle. But the fact that some people see this person's joined 5 months ago. I've been here for 1 year, let's just say, and they've got more followers than me. And time doesn't correspond to following. I've been on the website for like 4 years, and I never had, the following that, Engineer had at his peak. Being basically that single revered, not necessarily God, but you generally understand the point when you've got people thinking that some sort of popularity contest.
Yeah.
And the people who, what's this sort of Oasis? He's like, not found. Scrolling through just some of the projects here, you can see that, the people have put major effort into their projects. Have definitely risen above the rest in some sort of way. With, Oasis Map Awards X series being probably the first series, whereas not to diss his previous projects, but the first series where, he's actually gone full out, if I'm not wrong here, like full out, using external software. I've been, using other software for some time, but because the Scratch editor, obviously, as we know, is very limited. But, with the tools and then, You've got the shit posty side, you know, people just taking the complete piss out of the website. Because if you guys remember the alternate future of Mega Poo series that Finn made, alternate future of H, and like that was just a total joke. But that was one of
Oh
the
my
best moments in the
goodness, yes,
community
I
because
remember
everyone
those.
was just having fun. And that's something I wish we had again, you know, everyone just having fun with low effort. You know, it was
Yes.
good. Like you know, I think it was New Year's Day this year. You know, took the piss as well. I made this alternate future of Papers, Please project, which is basically just a crappy Jabril on steroids kind of thing, where I'm using the bloody circle tool and rectangle tool to declare wars. And then, but the fact is, the funniest thing is, since with that lower demographic, there's people who take these seriously, which I just love. The people who take, you know, these obviously joke projects and think they're like something substantial. And I just find that pretty hilarious. The fact that, you know, people go, oh, I think it was FTB Remix Project. He got my map, which I was just winging. And he tried to turn it into Vector. And Vector is not the best for mapping unless you're doing like full on animated mapping sequences. You're probably not going to be having. No one uses Vector in this community because it always ends up with some kind of really just offset, jagged map. Like I've seen US states map Vector, and because that's possible because a lot of the state borders are just like boxes. So that works, but obviously in Florida always ends up looking like a triangle or just like some obscene sphere. And you really just don't know when it comes to quality. Because with Vector, you get a higher quality, but the trade-off is less of a control. So, like, bitmap is generally preferred because you get way more control, a lot more accuracy, and the trade-off is, like, a slightly lower resolution where, you know, exporting in 960 by 720 has fixed that in the past. Because, as we've realized, with Scratch 3.0, since they've added the area, like the border area, to the, you know, being able to see outside the canvas, that also caused them to increase the resolution of the backgrounds and the sprites. So they realized that if you make, you know, have your image going outside the boundaries of the canvas and using the change size block, you can get a lot more resolution on the projects, or you can use 4 smaller sprites, which I did previously with that Scratch HD test or whatever. But it's just, you know, seeing how we've, you know, exploited this engine to the point where, you know, we can get, like I had a 1920 by 1440 image I was able to export in May, which would have not been possible because, you know, the general Scratch canvas is 480 by 360. The background is 960 by 720. And so if I layered 14 sprites all together, we'd be able to create like a big canvas of sorts. Where
Interesting.
So I'm obviously looking at this project here, and where I hit space compete, you can always see it becomes a lot more pixelated. And you've got a bit of screen door effect over here. So when it comes to the hand, and, you know, with Kim Jong-un's fabulous trapezoid or whatever, trapezium haircut, it's obviously, you know, some of the, well, I wouldn't say elite stuff going on, but it's definitely up there. And scrolling through the studio, some of this stuff. Oh, New Stickman is making projects still. AFOTWBIT in 26,000. Season 7, episode 21. What the heck? and there's some kids, you know, for some reason there are a lot of furry mappers with tails and ears.
Okay.
Yeah, like Mad Fed Dad, Train Boy. I'm not sure if a train or trans, but oh, he's from South Carolina. That explains a lot. Oh shit. Oh god, here we go. Taking a look at this. We've, you know, been able to do some new stuff and use opacity and figure out how to make transitions, because one person will, you know, figure out something in the way Scratch works, which is great. You've got that whole, I feel like, for sense where, you know, it's basically like Creative Commons on steroids, where I can basically take anything someone else had made, change a tiny bit, and call it my own. Where, you know, you'll get remixes. It's pretty epic to see so-and-so remixes. But the fact that you've got, you know, a low quality engine that's obviously not optimized, because, you know, Scratch has recently gone from Flash, because that's being discontinued, to HTML5.
Oh yeah, there's an online add-on.
Yeah, there was an add-on, but so, you know, Scratch would be used on mobile devices because it's HTML5, and obviously on iOS there's Scratch Junior, which is essentially a joke, but it's basically only on iOS and Android devices. I think they basically have a different block, like the blocks go horizontally rather than like vertically than what we have, and there's like 6 broadcasts. And yeah, the engine's definitely progressed. Seeing, like, if you've ever experimented with Scratch 1.4, you can obviously see that it's severely underpowered. Vector wasn't a thing yet, because Vector was only introduced in 2.0. As well as general sprites being different. You've got, you know, sprites being moved to different versions of the platform. But it's just interesting how, you know, as I've mentioned myself about 5 times in the past minute, the Scratch engine has definitely made some pretty big remarks, which has allowed for obviously better quality mapping. But then the fact that people still don't know how to utilize said engine to its fullest can obviously lead to lower quality of mapping, which is, you know, going back to that quantity of a quality thesis that we've had before. And yeah. So that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you to, you know, Thunder, Frosty, and Germanczy, as well as the people who dropped in, Luigi and FNAF, to watch the stream today. Appreciate it. You know, hopefully we'll see you guys out next week to host the next episode of the podcast with a hopeful better mic after, you know, quick gift. But thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Peace out.
Goodbye.